Hey everyone! In this video, I'm going to be talking about how I homeschool my 2-year-old. When I say I homeschool my 2-year-old, I don't mean in that strictest sense of getting a curriculum for him or maybe a preschool binder and doing activities with him through that. It's more of a how I educate him through just teaching him really basic things through our day-to-day life. So I think if anyone takes the time and energy to do something more formal with their preschool age kids 4 and under, I think that can be very beneficial, but that's just not how I do things in my home. I just try to teach my child every day, just more casually, I guess you can say. So that being said, I do use things like puzzles, I do use some educational toys or books or songs too. So those are some of the things that I'm gonna get into today and just share what has helped me and hopefully can help others as well. So the first thing that I want to talk about and bring out that is probably the most important is that I've always tried reading to him. Books are helpful when it comes to learning things like the alphabet and learning numbers. There's lots of books that are like counting books or they have songs. We have a book called The 5 Little Ducks, very well-known song that I do sing while I read to him. So I think that's engaging, more sensory learning. It's the singing and it's the visual, with the reading and looking at the illustration. So it's double duty. There's plenty of books out there that bring out colors, bring out shapes, and that's just a great way because it's very repetitious and they're able to just visually repeat those words while they're looking at these things. And there's this really cool book that also includes the sensory of touch and where he touches the book while he counts. So that's a really good way too to just kind of really bring all the senses into the learning and helping him to remember and memorize these facts. Something also to note, what's really good about books is that all children obviously have their particular interests and a lot of books really expose them to these things. Like we have a lot of books about trains and my son loves those books. He loves to do the choo-choo sounds and he loves trains. He also really loves, I'm gonna make it sound like so scientific, like astronomy, but he loves the moon. He loves books that have the moon and the stars and even planets, because we talk to him about it. So anytime like we have this planet chart, it's like a target game and you throw a ball and you try to make the target, which is the sun in the middle. He's very aware of that. Those are the planets. I give a lot of credit to books and just us talking with him and pointing these things out. And so now he's aware of them and he really has interest in those kinds of things. Books also have a lot of farm animals in them, and animals are just another great thing for them to memorize. Again, just exposing them to so much things in life that maybe they can't experience in real life. So he can't maybe in person do these things quite yet, but he knows about them because of books. So yeah, books are definitely a great tool to use for babies and toddlers. That being said, I do try to read to him every day is the goal. If a day goes by without reading to him, I don't feel bad. I don't beat myself up about it, but that is the goal, is to read to him at least 2 to 3 books a day. And lots of times we read way more than that. Okay, so the second thing that I use that I feel is very important are flashcards. This is one thing that not a lot of people agree with using so early in age, but I just sense that they really helped, and so I'm using them for my toddler as well. And they're the alphabet flashcards, so I just go ahead and show him each letter pretty quickly. I just go through them, and that's a good way for him to memorize it. So he pretty much knows his alphabet already. I'm very proud of where he's at and what he's learned so far, and I give credit to the flashcards. I think they're really good. They're just very repetitious. I did it for every day for months, and eventually he learned it. He has his favorite letters, which is interesting. But yeah, that's something that once he would play with other things or we'd read books or he would look at blocks that have letters on them, or we're out and about and he sees letters on objects or billboards or anything, he will point letters out. So that's kind of nice, and I think it's good for him to build that confidence, and you know, he's building his knowledge from there, so that's pretty exciting. Okay, so the third thing that's very beneficial for my toddler at the moment are songs. Songs obviously are they're timeless. Music is just amazing. So I use songs that, again, teach things like the alphabet, or teach that have numbers, you know, like the 5 little ducks or the 5 speckled frogs. So one thing I do try to stay away from are having him watch and listen to things on YouTube. I try to just sing the songs myself. I never liked Coco Melon, and I could never put my finger on why. I think I could just tell from the very beginning it was very addicting, and I didn't like that. So yeah, anyways, I don't really show him like things like that like on YouTube or anything, but I do try to just sing it myself, and just random times of the day when they're in the bath, I would sing to him, or change his diaper. It's a good time to just start singing, you know, just taking advantage of those times where he's not distracted. So songs are definitely an amazing and great tool for learning educational things. Okay, so now when it comes to toys, I actually prefer when my son plays just freely, when he goes outside with his older brother and they jump on a trampoline, or they're running around with the ball, throwing the ball and catching it. I prefer that. I prefer him to be outside. I know there's just so much benefit to just being outside. The things that they hear, the sounds of nature, the things they see visually, there's just so much they're taking in, especially at that age where they're just soaking everything in. And I feel like he learns so much more when he does something like that than when he's just sitting and it's like educational toy in front of him. And he's obviously, educational toys are such a good benefit. They're better than, you know, watching TV or something. But I just wanted, I guess, to preface that. But yeah, a big thing that I try to prioritize is just him doing free play. So outside is obviously the best, but if we're inside, maybe the weather isn't that great, it gets too hot or it's too cold, even then, you kind of want to try to get them outside. You want to try to work around it. In the summertime, they can, you know, get wet and cool down that way, or in the wintertime, just make sure they're really bundled up and then they could still play out there. But yeah, if they're inside, I still would rather him have free play. It just gets out all that energy that he has. And another thing he likes to do is just throw the ball. Same thing as outside, but inside, we have kind of a lot of space in here. Just throws the ball and then runs and catches it and then throws it again and goes back and forth, back and forth. I just love them getting that energy out. I love it. Okay, so let's move on from the whole free play thing. I'm gonna go ahead and bring out a few things that are like toys that are educational. Okay, so this thing here, it's like a wagon. So you can pull on this. It has wheels. And it's basically just blocks, and they have the letters on them. They have uppercase and then on the other side lowercase. He likes to play with these as blocks, or he likes to play with the wagon. And then from time to time, we will also point out the letters. So I'll say, find the letter K, and I'll see if he can find it. And that's kind of how we play with it. Or he'll just, you know, stumble upon a letter and he'll tell me, you know, oh, and I'll say, yeah, you're right, that is an O. So he'll recognize those. So that's kind of nice to have. I just lay this around the house. It's usually on the floor over here by this couch. And when he stumbles upon it and finds interest, that's kind of how he plays with it. I don't, you know, set aside a time to look at it with him. It's just kind of happens naturally. Okay, I just decided to get the camera and move to where these things are. So now I'm in the office / toy playroom. So this is a new toy that someone gave us, and this is really cool because it has a lot of these little cars, and they just like to, you know, drive them around. It's like, it looks like kind of like a parking lot type of thing. Cause yeah, there's like parking, see these lines here? This is like where the cars park. It also has like this cool little elevator thing that they can have the cars go up and down. What I love to do with him is I love to point the colors out, and he loves it too. He loves to point out the colors. He'll grab a car and I'll say, what color is that? And he'll sometimes guess the color wrong, and that gives me the opportunity to correct him. If he says, this is green, I'll say, no, that's red. And then he'll repeat me, red. But sometimes he'll get it right, and he'll say, if he says, this is green, I'll say, yes, that is green. We use this to go over colors very often because he really likes this toy. So I just take advantage of that time when he's playing with it. I will just take like literally less than a minute to just go over the colors, and then I'll just let him be and I'll let him play with it. So that's a good way to help him to memorize the colors. This is another puzzle that we have. This is kind of obvious of how he learns from here. They have the shapes, they have the different colors, and so I'll just take them all out, and then he can put them back in, and then we just, as he's doing that, I'll point out the shape and the color, and he repeats me. So this is nice, and it's very easy for him to hold, and it's very easy for him to put back as well. They don't make that too challenging, so it's something that's fun, you know, for him to use. This is something that is really, really good for his motor skills, fine motor skills. So he'll grab this pen, which I like that it has a string to it, so it can't be lost. But you know, he'll kind of scribble on here, and then he can erase it. And it's just really good for his fine motor skills, holding the pencil. When he first held the pencil, he wouldn't hold it right. I can't remember how he would hold it, if it was like this, or I can't remember how, but I just remember correcting him. So, you know, those are good things that he can start learning. But I really like this. This was really cool too, because in the back, I don't have them on here right now, but they have like these flashcards that you can take one at a time and then place them here. So for older kids who are learning how to write, they'll see the card here and it had the alphabet, and then they just tried to copy what they saw there. They could trace it too, because it had the lines on there, so they could trace it and then they could write it on their own. So this is good for older kids as well. But my 2-year-old definitely loves to use this, and it's just good to kind of start those muscles being used. Okay, so this is something that he plays with probably the most, and that's blocks. I have 3 different sets of blocks, and I can't even say which one he uses most because he really uses all of them almost equally. They're all really cool too for different reasons. So this one is more like Legos. So, and there's also, what I like is that there's a lot of them. They're also pretty big. So I'll go ahead and open it and show you. Okay, so this is what they look like. They have different colors and they have different shapes here. They have these single ones. They have the 4. They have the ones that are, you know, they just have different sizes. Yeah, you get the idea. But he likes to build them really tall, as tall as he can. And it kind of teaches him patience too, because sometimes when it falls over, if it's too tall and it loses its balance, in the beginning he would get so frustrated and he would almost start to cry. But I would just say, it's okay, do it again. And I'll say, I'll help you. And then we would just build again. And that really helped him to kind of like manage, you know, his emotions, and to know that it's not the end of the world, and to just do it again, start over. So this other one he has is just slightly different, but basically he tries to build them as tall as he can as well. Kind of like Legos. The only difference is that there's these that are 2, or there's 1s. Okay, so like right here, there's just the 1, or there's the 2s. And so it's a little more simple, but he loves them and he just loves to build them high. And then again, I will from time to time point out the colors, same with over here, or he'll just tell me what color he thinks it is and I can correct him if he's wrong, and he always repeats what I say. So it's just good for, you know, those multiple things. but these are really good. They feel really nice too. They're like kind of soft. Like these are really plasticky, and then these are just kind of soft. They feel really nice when you put them together. So very organized too, putting them away. And then lastly are these. I don't want to take them out right now, but these are made of like styrofoam. So that's really nice because they are really big. So when he builds, they get really tall. And so if they fall over, they do not hurt at all if they might stumble on him or something. But they're really big. So that's what's really fun about these. And then there's the different shapes too. So this one's like a triangle. There's some long ones. There's even like some circled ones. But yeah, that one's really, really fun as well. Okay, he has a couple more puzzles in here that I keep in these bags just to make sure nothing gets lost, and I just keep them in these bins here. So one of them is, let's do this one first since it's open. It's this board puzzle with birds, and they have the different colors, but then he also has to try to like put them in its right place. This one he has a little harder time. He'll struggle, like even if he has the right color, he kind of struggles putting it in. If he pulls this out and he's interested in it and I'm there, I will definitely just kind of run through the colors with him. And yeah, I'll tell him which color it is. And then again, he does need help or else he'll get frustrated, and so I'll help him. I'll say, oh, try to turn it. And yeah, they have the different colors, which they're all in here. And then this board has these shapes and colors. Pretty much the same concept. You get the point. And he'll have to put them in the right place. And we'll just I'll just talk it through with him and point out the colors and the shapes. So that's pretty much it. That's how I homeschool my 2-year-old. And you know, a lot of times, you know, we put these labels to it, but we as parents, we're constantly teaching our kids. When they're this age, they just soak up everything like a sponge, and they're learning so much more than we even realize. They're learning language, they're learning behaviors, they're learning manners, they're learning emotions, they're just learning so much, and so they imitate us. And so, you know, we're talking to them, we're singing, we're doing all these things, and they're just taking everything in. And so we don't have to feel just so much pressure on ourselves to get this fancy, you know, preschool binder book or something. If you do that, that's great. And if you put the energy and time into that, that's amazing. I'm sure that actually is very helpful, really. But that's just not something I do. And I find that this is still a great way. It teaches him a lot. So I hope that this helps others to not only not put too much pressure on themselves, but also if there's anything else you can add to your home that I brought out in this video, then I hope that this helped you. So thank you for sticking around till the end. And if you want to watch some more of my videos, I have a lot of things coming up, especially like new curriculum that I'm going to share for my 2nd grader. So that's coming up soon. So if you want to subscribe, you'll be seeing that soon. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.